Hey everyone, it's Tristan with the Living Learning Communities office, and I'm here with Gary Stafford from the Career Center. And I guess the first thing that everyone wants to know is, Gary, who are you? What do you do?
Yeah. Well, my name is Gary, as you just mentioned, and I work in the Career Center here at Missouri State. I've had a chance to help people with their careers for the last 9+ years. And within this responsibility, I get the chance to help students understand who they are, help them get ready to enter the workforce, and essentially help them carve a path out so that they can be satisfied with their career long term. So that kind of wraps up slash sums up the things I do here at Missouri State.
Awesome. So I think if I'm going to say the name of it wrong, but like let's say I didn't know what I wanted to do, and I wanted to take one of those like tests or quizzes that kind of like helps me figure out, well, here's what you're good at, kind of thing,
Yeah.
right? Like you kind of handle that, don't you?
Yeah, I do work with that. In the Career Center, we have three assessments that we utilize. And those are the Myers-Briggs type indicator, the strong interest inventory, and the Cooter journey. So all of those, I guess, assessments are used to help students learn about themselves in a way that would help them be very, very informed in their career decision making. I trust them a lot. I think they do a really good job. So, you as students, when you get a chance, come to the Career Center so you can get those too. They're very helpful.
If I wanted to get to know you, personally, or a student did, what's something important about you that I need to know?
Yeah, well, I don't know if it's important, but it's at least fun, maybe. I'm a musician on the side. Probably for the last, I would say, about 10+ years, maybe a little bit longer. I've had the opportunity to play the drums in areas around the bottom part of Missouri. So I've played in casinos, played in bars and clubs, and did that for a while. Don't too much do that anymore, but it was fun while it lasted. So that might be something that's interesting.
Really, what kind of music do you play like on the drums?
Yeah, man, I played a little bit of everything. I've played country. Now, I'll say I wasn't in a country band, but that band I was playing in happened to add that type of song into the gig. So I was like, okay, I'll rock with it, I'll roll. So I played a little bit of that all the way from country to, I would say, R&B. Pretty much the only genre I haven't touched would be jazz. I really haven't played jazz, but I love that music. It's really cool, but I haven't played that in a setting, if you will.
That's awesome. Cool. Yeah, I wish I could play the drums other than pencils on the desk.
Hey, that works, man. That works.
Awesome. So I guess tell us a little bit about college, Gary. What's a class that you struggled with when you were in college?
Yeah, I got to tell you, my hardest class was math. I struggled a lot with math, man. When they started requiring letters to equal numbers and vice versa, that's where I started. That's where I started with the struggles, man. But I was able to make it through college. It just was by no means my favorite slash best subject.
If you could tell your past self anything, what would you tell yourself?
Yeah, man. I think the thing that I would tell myself is I need to focus on what is important. I need to be more cognizant of how important education is. Because when I was going through high school and even when I went to college, my main priority was sports because that is what was kind of paving the way for me. So I think if I could go back and tell my young self something, it would be sports are cool, but focus on school a little bit more first and then play the sports afterwards. And I think that that would help me to, accomplish a little bit more, be more focused, do a little bit better. And as a result, maybe have, a little bit better outcome after I graduated.
Like, what advice would you give someone who's at the beginning of their career of like, I really don't know what I want to be? And then what advice would you give someone in maybe their junior year who's like, it's maybe time to start thinking about those internships and, job fairs and stuff like that?
Yeah, yeah. Well, if someone is in a place where they feel like they're undecided or just unsure as to what works for them the best in terms of their career, I would really recommend that at that point they consider taking those assessments that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Because what they do is they help you understand your personality, or essentially they help you understand yourself better. And then once you're able to understand yourself better, especially as is related to your interests, your preferences, and your values, then you can associate those attributes with a particular work environment. And the more connection points you have, maybe that will identify an area that would be good for you to go into. But without those assessments, you really won't get all that information that helps you understand what you could potentially go to and be successful in. So if you're undecided at an early age, at an early stage, I would recommend that you complete those assessments, and just try to learn as much about yourself as possible. And then later on, I'm hoping that you have engaged with the Career Center a little bit. So as a result, you have did the career counseling, so you have identified some areas that work well. So at that point, it's just helping yourself get some experience in the area through internships and summer employment. And then pretty much getting your career documents ready and your cover letter, resume, and reference page, getting all those things ready and sharpening up your job search plan so that you can move forward and be successful after you leave Missouri State. I think those are some of the things that you would want to focus on, starting from the middle and as you matriculate through the end of your college career. Well, one thing that I will mention, that one thing that's pretty neat about the Career Center here at Missouri State is that even after you graduate, you can still use the Career Center. So you could be graduated for like 5, 10, 15 years. As long as the Career Center is here, you can still use it. So if you need to update your resume or need help with job searching, or catch this, even come back for a career fair, you can do it.
That is awesome. That is really cool. And that's good that like this video will go out on our YouTube page. And so, maybe someone who's graduated will also see it and like didn't know that information like I didn't. So
yeah, exactly right.
Awesome. Cool. That's really good to know. In your expert opinion, like let's say, I don't know, maybe I had a bad first half of the semester, right? What advice would you give a student going into the second half?
Okay, and I'll say that expert word very lightly, but but if I'm struggling with school, I'm going to want to understand why. What's causing me to trip up? Is it a certain subject? And within that subject, is it a certain aspect? Just like with the algebra, I could never understand how letters equal numbers. So back then, if I would have went to a tutor and been like, man, explain this to me, then maybe I would have been a little bit better with it. So really identifying that point of issue, to me, helps people do better. And then once you can fix that particular area, then maybe everything else will kind of get a little bit better and easier. And then hopefully that'll help you improve whatever the issue area is. So, just really focus on the specific issue, I think, would help students overcome barriers.
What are some underutilized, resources on campus that you think students should know about besides yourself and the
and I was going to be the first one to be like, of course, the Career Center. Yeah, I think the Career Center is one of those things, or one of those departments that is, underutilized. And I don't think it's anyone's fault, if you will. I just feel like sometimes students just don't realize that there is a need to use it until it comes to that point in time to where they start really thinking about their careers and how they're going to live after they leave, or if they're needing an internship or something along those lines. So I would say the Career Center would be one of those areas. The next thing I would say would be the Writing Center. You have to do a lot of writing in college, and even more, you have to do writing after you graduate. So why not be really good at it? And going to the Writing Center and utilizing that resource, I think will be very helpful. There are, if someone has a disability, there's a disability resource center that people can access, which I think would be really good, because I don't think college is meant to be hard for anyone, but sometimes it can be more difficult if there's something that is wrong and you haven't figured out a way to mediate that. So I would definitely encourage people to utilize disability support services. And if you belong to a group that where there's not a lot of support on campus for that particular group, a historically underrepresented group of any sort, then I would recommend that you go to your diversity areas and contact/utilize those areas. To me, on a college campus, there's pretty much support for every aspect of life. So, figuring out what type of support you need and then accessing a department that helps you with that area, I think would be the most thing. Those areas that I mentioned, I think are cool and are at the top of my mind, but there could be others, because it's per each individual. But I really think, just understanding what you need help with and then going and getting help in that area per the service that's available on campus would be the ideal thing to do.
The last question will be something fun is, where's your favorite place in Springfield?
That's a good question. Let me think about that for a second. Can it be anything like a restaurant or anything?
It could be anything.
Okay. Well, I have to say, maybe I'll give you a couple of responses. But I'd say, to me, the most amazing place, okay, and this may be weird because I'm not an outdoorsy type person at all. You're not going to find me walking on trails and navigating the woods or anything like that. But I do like, and I think it's one of the coolest spots in this part of Missouri, or maybe all of Missouri, is the Wonders of Wildlife Museum and Aquarium here in Springfield with Bass Pro. When I went in there for the first time, I was like, wow, this is amazing. It made me feel like I actually wasn't in Springfield for a minute, because it's really something that is like that big. It's like big city, type of entertainment, if you will. So I think that is one of the most amazing places that I've been to. And I had to say, in addition to that, man, I really like Cheddar's. It's a nice restaurant. I love the food, man. So I had to say those are the really, I guess, the highlights of my place. I mean, I've done some other things, but those things stick out the most, if you will.
I do like that when you leave Wonders of Wildlife, you leave and then there's the restaurant right there. And
yeah.
You just spent an hour or two looking at fish, and then it's like
right.
the fish restaurant.
yeah. Yeah, exactly right. Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. So Gary, hopefully by the end of this video, they're familiar with you and the Career Center, and they're like, you know what, I think I'm going to go see him. So if someone wanted to come see you, Gary, how would they go about doing that? Do you have an office hour or?
Yeah. There are two Career Center offices on campus. One is in the College of Business and one is in Carrington. So for all CNAS students, which is the area that I work with, your particular office is going to be the one in Carrington Hall on the 3rd floor. And once you come up the stairwell or get off the elevator, it is right to your left, and it's 301. So you would come there and you can make an appointment in 2 ways. You can sign up through Handshake, which I hope everyone is using as much as possible. Or you could call the Career Center front office and they will help you sign up for an appointment. Our phone number is 417-836-5636. If you have any questions and you're just wanting to get in contact with someone really quick, you can email me and I'll help you to the best of my ability. My email address is gstafford, that's STAFFORD @MissouriState.edu. And through contacting me through those means there, I'll get back with you as soon as I can, and hopefully with a good response that helps you with whatever issue that you have. But hopefully I see you sometime in the Career Center, or I hope that I see you at the career fair that's coming up for the CNAS department. It's going to be a really good event. You'll have a lot of fun and get a chance to meet with some really good employers.
And when is that?
That is November the 10th from 11 to 5. And if you haven't signed up yet, go ahead and do it. You'll not be disappointed. I guarantee. There's some good employers coming to this event. So definitely check it out. And it's free of charge, doesn't cost anything except for your time. So definitely go into Handshake, check out that event, and sign up if you can.